So Bill Gates had the nerve to go on Twitter and do a little thread about COVID. Now, he got ratioed to the high heavens, and he got destroyed in the quote tweets. Now, he wasn't destroyed in just the responses, but the reason why is he turned off the responses. He turned them off because people were exposing him for the charlatan and the con man and the fraud that he is. So let's take a look at his Twitter thread, and I'll go through some of it here with you. Now, it's much longer than this, but I'll go ahead and just go through some of this. Omicron is spreading faster than any virus in history. It will soon be in every country in the world. The big unknown is how sick Omicron makes you. We need to take it seriously until we know more about it. Even if it's only half as severe as Delta, it will be the worst surge we have seen so far because it's so infectious. In the meantime, we all have to look out for each other, especially the most vulnerable, whether they live down the street or in another country. That means wearing masks, avoiding big indoor gatherings, and getting vaccinated. Getting a booster gives the best protection. There will be more breakthrough cases in people who are vaxxed, which sounds concerning, but is purely a factor of how many people are vaxxed and how fast this variant is spreading. Vaccines are designed to prevent people from getting seriously ill or dying, and are doing that well. Okay, so he also says in another part of the thread that I basically canceled my holiday plans. I canceled my Christmas plans. And the implication is like, well, you should too. You should do the same thing. And then you see all these feigning concerns. Oh, my God, I'm so worried about Omicron. And oh, my God, I'm so worried about people hurting and the hospital surge and all these things. Stop and think about what Bill Gates is responsible for and what he just did. Bill Gates, as soon as COVID hit, he was on the phone with the pharma billionaires and CEOs. And he told them in no uncertain terms, we are not lifting the patent protection on these vaccines. We're not doing it. Bill Gates is a monopolist. He made all his money because he's a patent pirate. He's a shark with it. Rigidly and ruthlessly enforces the IP protections. So he was the first one to say, no, we're not going to lift the patent protections, which would get the vaccine all around the world. Instead, don't worry, I'll take care of it. I'll do COVAX, which is vaccine charity, which is going to attempt to get vaccines to the developing world. Now, look, you need billions and billions and billions of vaccines to make sure the developing world gets them. You know, I don't remember the exact numbers, but COVAX hit, maybe 10% of their entire goal? They haven't even gotten a billion out, never mind billions plural. So, understand something. He is more responsible than anybody else for how far and wide COVID has spread. Because he set up a scam to make more money and prevent generic vaccines from being created. See, that's the actual conspiracy going on here with COVID-19. Some people have hopped on a bus to Cuckooville to try to act like, oh, pharma's trying to push it on the world, and the developing world is too smart to take the vaccine because they know how dastardly America is. That's one of the COVID vaccine conspiracies. No, the real conspiracy is you have facilities all around the world that have the ability to make these safe and effective COVID vaccines, and they're being blocked from making those vaccines because of the greed of pharma, the greed of Pfizer and Moderna. And so all you have to do is lift the patent protections, and all these facilities that can make the vaccine do make the vaccines, and it would be a generic version of it, and then you'd have way more people vaccinated. It actually is possible to vaccinate the entire world, or at least get to 80-90% of the entire world, but in order to do that, you can't have patent protections. Because as long as you have patent protections, Pfizer or Moderna or any of the big pharma companies could turn around and sue some generic vaccine maker in rural India and shut them down and take them for all they're worth. And it was Bill Gates who bought that system, who brought that system upon us. He's the one who did it. So now, by the way, hilarious, when you go through the quote tweets of that, like 30 to 40% of them are insane anti-vaccine idiots. But then like 50 or 60% of them, or 70 roughly, are people being like, hey, look at what you did with the IP protection, you dick. Like, you are to blame for where we are right now. And he's out there feigning concern. Oh, it's so bad. Make sure you do the right thing. Cancel your gatherings. How about we wouldn't have to cancel our gatherings if you got the fuck out of the way and didn't protect the patents and weren't insistent upon that and weren't insistent upon your scam-ass charity, which isn't vaccinating anywhere near the number of people that need to be vaccinated. So what people need to do is get this idea out of your mind that if somebody's a billionaire, they just worked harder, they were just smarter, they're a mega genius. No, sometimes the people who climb to the top of our fake meritocracy are just the most ruthless. And Bill Gates is a perfect example of that. He's just a ruthless scumbag that had good PR, but now it's all crumbling around him because people are onto you, bro, which is why you had to turn off the replies. But guess what? Apparently you can't turn off the quote tweets because people were ripping him a new anus in front of the world, letting everybody know. Oh, now you're concerned. Well, if you're concerned, why not help lift the patent protections so we can get more vaccines to more people and defeat the pandemic quicker? No, he cares more about this. He cares more about money. So don't fall for the bullshit philanthropy scam of billionaires, because that's exactly what it is. Just so everybody understands, even people who are, 100 millionaires or whatever, a lot of these people create these charities, these nonprofits, and they get PR from the media over it. Oh, look at this, educating, poor youth in the inner city or whatever the fuck for various people. And that's all just a tax avoidance scheme. They set up those charities simply to avoid paying taxes. And then they get the pat on the back from the media as if they're doing the charity out of the benevolence and altruism of their own heart. Nonsense. So he's a scam artist, he's a charlatan, he's a con man, he's a fraud. Everybody's on to him, which is why he had to turn off the replies. If you want to see me and Crystal Ball interview legends like Noam Chomsky, Cornel West, and more, subscribe to Crystal Kyle and Friends on Substack. $5 a month gets you the video version a day early. Remember, we take 0 ad dollars for this podcast. Or you can sign up on Substack for free and get the audio version a day later. Link in the video description box below.